Was Steve Lacy's new album worth the wait? Is what I'm going to try and answer in my own way. You're obviously open to your own interpretation of whether you think it was worth the wait, if you enjoy it or not. But I've been a fan of Steve Lacy for a while, and as has most people, I suppose. But I was highly anticipating this album to come out, and it hasn't come out without its fair share of controversy, I suppose. And Steve Lacy has had his fair share of controversy or sort of interesting public image, as it were. When he sort of blew up from Bad Habit, it was obviously massive on TikTok and just everywhere. He released Gemini Rights about 4 years ago, and went on tour. A pretty long tour. He did a lot of shows, and there was a lot of footage from these tours of him not being very happy with the crowd involvement. They just didn't know the songs, basically. Like, everyone was just there to go and see a few of them. And he obviously didn't like that, and would literally just crash out on stage in the middle of a set. Which, I mean, fair enough, but also, like, these people have paid good money to go and like see you perform. Like, at least they're there to listen. They shouldn't have to like sing along and everything. You should, just be enjoying playing the songs. But like, I can see both sides. But that kind of sparked this whole sort of thing, how he needs his audience to appreciate the music that he has out. And he actually publicly said on his Instagram that this album, that just came out, it wouldn't release until his fan base go and appreciate Gemini Rights for what it is in its entirety. And this was about a year ago, I think he posted on Instagram saying that, which is a pretty strong statement to make. Part of me thinks, like, so what, you're making it for the audience, you're not making it for yourself? Actually, no, all of me thinks that. I wasn't like again, I'm a fan of him, but I wasn't best pleased with him saying that as a music creator myself. At no point have I ever, or I don't think will I ever, be wanting to make music for the fans. Well, obviously it's for the fans, but it's for yourself first. The first listener is the person making the music. So yeah, that caused some controversy. But here we are. A year after that, 4 years after Gemini Rights came out, and he releases it came out last week. I was going to record, half my notes are from last Friday when the album came out, and I was going to release it on the day. However, I was on holiday the next day and needed to pack, and I had like a drum audition, so it didn't get done. But this gave me some more time for it to sink in, and to spend a bit more time going over it. And I'm gonna answer my question: was it worth the wait? Pretty straight up, and say, kind of. Like, as much as I wanted to love this, I love parts of it, but there are other parts that aren't so good, and that I don't go back to. And there's like 3 songs that are clearly a cut above the others, and then a few that I just think are not very good. But I try and keep things positive, and do videos about projects that I like. And I do like this project, but I think Gemini Rights, that won the Grammy, is definitely better. This is probably the most opinionated I'll be, because I've been wanting this to come out for a while, as have most people. And like, Steve Lacy got propelled like back into the spotlight when he announced it about a month ago and started releasing singles, and he'd kind of beforehand been doing a few more features and stuff, so you could kind of tell that this was going to come out. But let's go straight into it with the title song and the first song, Oh Yeah. And so it's familiar vocal style from Steve Lacy. I mean, I feel like his vocals, or just the sound of his voice, is pretty unique. And the like, he's obviously got guitar work that centers the main melody. However, it's a lot spacier. There's a lot more It's sort of less upbeat, I guess. It's less sort of driving as most of his other work is, and in a sense less repetitive. Seems like he sort of uses less loops in a few songs, but it's a lot spacier, and he's kind of, it's pretty repetitive in terms of lyrics though. He's saying like, come on, come on, come on, and talking about different like trials and struggles that he has in life. And the lyric "Life's a bitch, then you live again," which he uses many times, he is like a key sort of lyric in this first song. And so he's kind of immediately putting us in this place where, okay, this guy's been like frustrated. He's been in sort of a rut, I guess. And now he's slowly getting back to it, hence the like sort of slow build up, and like it's a bit spacier. And his singing is like very emotive, and he has and like his harmonies are really nice. That's a very standout thing in this album, is the harmonies that he does are really, really good. Similar to kind of Pride, which he did for Kendrick on Damn. There's kind of similar sort of ways he uses his voice to like build chords and stuff, which is very cool. And it's got like a nice synth outro as well on this song, which is again kind of makes it feel a little melancholic. Like this isn't the upbeat sort of Steve Lacy that we used to, I guess. The next song, Is It Cool? He's rapping. He's just like doing this sort of XXX Tentacion sort of flow, like these quick lyrics and stuff, which have like you ain't gotta trust me to love me, I don't even trust myself, never learned to love properly, and like self-sabotage and stuff like that. So we're immediately we're not in like a talking about creative ruts. We're talking about how he's like struggling to love, and you know, you ain't gonna trust me to love me. He's just like desperate for someone to have a connection with. Also, Scissors featured on this song. I don't know why. She has a pretty forgettable verse that lasts like 10 seconds. I feel like every single R&B like singer or just R&B artist just has a scissor feature. Like, I know these guys have worked together before, but like on the second song as well, like I feel like he just used it for like, look, he just used it for the sake of like, oh, I can have scissor on my album. It felt, I don't know, it felt pretty irrelevant, to be honest. And I like scissor, so maybe this is a hot take, but like her verse was like 10 seconds and she doesn't really say much. But the whole sort of theme of the song is about like centering around love and like all being honest in it. And eventually he settles into his usual sort of style. It's very weird, the start, like the way that he's rapping. It's kind of really sort of 2015 like bedroom SoundCloud rappery at the start. So I'm not a massive fan of, but then it settles into it after Scissor's verse, and it's like, it's kind of cool, and there's like little guitar solos going off. So is it cool? It's kind of cool. And then The Feeling, the next song, is good. You know, he redeems himself on this. And it's clearly very influenced by The Weeknd. I think his use of synths and everything in this album, he's definitely got inspiration from The Weeknd. It's not like the exact sort of, he's not copied the whole like synth pop sort of formula that The Weeknd, I guess, has pioneered. But there's clearly like some influence there in terms of like the sound and creating like an interesting soundscape. But again, this one's very melancholic, saying like how the devil is working hard to keep me alone, and how the heart takes what it wants, and he's not afraid to bleed anymore. But the chorus actually, you know, there's this, it's a very new sound so far, but the chorus kind of sounds like early Steve Lacy, like Apollo XXI or Apollo 21. So there's like, you know, there's kind of for the old time fans, whatever, there's like things to grab onto. There's like, oh, okay, you know, there's still there. He's not completely reinvented himself. And again, this song is about like being direct in love, saying like, you take what you want, am I your baby? When you're only afraid, it'll just make you sadder, and yeah, and he's asking the person to be direct, and is sort of questioning like they are his, but is he not theirs, sort of thing. Which continues on from the previous song, which you don't gotta trust me to love me. He's kind of almost begging here. He's questioning his relationship, or reflecting on, did this person ever love me, which is like that's a pretty shit feeling. Everyone probably goes through it at some point. Pure Color featuring Erykah Badu. The next who Erykah Badu's been on a pretty cool run recently. She's sort of come back and is just on everything now, it seems, which I'm not complaining about. Great artist. But this one sounds a lot like Gemini Writes. This song, it's got like this fat bass line and like this kind of cool little whimsical melody on like maybe a Rhodes sort of sound. And again, it sort of questions about in this song, he's sort of again questioning himself more than other people, saying that he hardly recognizes himself and can't let you take control over me. And it's this song's really cool, but it kind of has the Erykah's verse. It kind of repeats like, oh, I'm high, just want to feel lighter, and kind of touches on the substance abuse sort of thing. And it's really dark for like Steve Lacy, I guess, having that in there. And there's a beat switch and it kind of goes all sluggish, and it's like he's sort of losing himself, or I guess as the drug sort of kicks in. And there's like a countdown as well between Erykah and Steve Lacy at the end, which is like, okay, maybe it's like the time till the drugs kick in, or I don't know. It's like a kind of disassociation sort of thing. Like he's just questioning, links back to I hardly recognize myself. And in context, it's like, I don't know, maybe he's sort of questioning himself and his entire personality after going through all these emotional hardships in relationships and stuff. It's like, it's a cool track, and it's it's definitely effective. The next song, I don't really want to talk about that much. This is not a good song. It's called Show You Me. Maybe this is just me. I think this song was really bad. He's saying like, oh, I think you should be in love with me. Call the love police. It's like this kind of sad boy sort of loser core sort of thing. And like, I feel like it's just really corny. I feel like Steve Lacy always, like, he was on the right side of the line in terms of like corniness of love songs. Actually, no, he was way, like, he never was corny or anything. Like, Give You the World is like a beautiful song on Gemini Rights, and that's just an outright like love sort of ballad. This just like cringy, saying like, he kind of puts on this weird country accent as well, and saying how he's got like coochie in his teeth. Like, what what is he on about? The last verse is good, thankfully. So there's like, I guess you'd go back to the last minute of this short, so I don't know. And the repeated "Show You Me" is now back in his normal style, like his normal voice style. And then there's like these cool, these cool harmonies that build up. And "Show You Me" is like a, opening yourself up to someone and everything. But it's like, I don't know what I don't get it. Like, there's the weird accent, and it's like just this really weird delivery, and I don't get it. So we'll move on. Doom, another highlight, I must say. This song is good. It's kind of bedroom rocky. There's like it's a little bit of a sort of grungy sort of feel to it, and he's back to his old vocal style. Thank God. And this talks about like the state of modern dating, I guess. Like a lyric, yeah, I could heal, but it's easier to speed date. he's kind of talking about how frustrating it is to, I guess, find love in this generation, and how dating's pretty cooked. Realistic. I feel like we all know this. Social media is to blame. This is a whole nother can of worms. But I mean, Steve Lacy is 28, so he's like, you know, within the age where social media has like affected dating, and just like it's been a part of like growing up and everything. And there's a pretty funny lyric in this as well. It's saying, "But a backseat of the SUV. Now we fucking till it brings world peace," which is pretty funny. But it's, you know, he's kind of commenting on hookup culture there. It's like, it's not gonna bring you world peace just hooking up with people. And then there's like this acoustic switch up, which it kind of slows down the whole vibe of the song. And he talks about like doomsday, and like maybe doomsday is like sort of like getting broken up with. That's it. Like seems like it's the worst thing in the world in dating nowadays. And there's like these cute little roads sort of lines that like contrast the sort of lower sound that's going on. And it's like really clever, and there's like this almost sort of comical like delivery style. And I forget what the lyric is. I'll get it up real quick. That is in this ending. Yeah, he's saying "shut the fuck up," blah 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 blah. But it's like it's almost comical, and it's like it's really beautiful. Like his harmonies are just really good in this section, and like the chord choices and everything. And it's just like, I don't know, just like no one wants to communicate. You know, he just wants them to shut up and then like continue on, or just have sex sort of thing. You know, hookup culture again. So it's a really good song. It's a really good song. Nothing. The next one is a sort of more chill acoustic ballad. Not too much to say on this. I mean, he's saying like, you know, nothing can keep you off my mind. That kind of sums it up. It's like pretty beautiful messaging though, like how love does kind of still exist. You know, he's talking about dating, but like he himself feels like, you know, he can still feel love for someone. And a lot of people, I think that there is hope out there. As much as dating is pretty cooked, people are still people. We're all the same. We all feel the same things, and you know. But the next song, "Love, Sex, Drug Bomb," featuring Cecil Believe, is again about being like hung up on someone, and I guess missing an ex. So that it's kind of talking about being with people and breaking up, like being with multiple guys or girls. He talks about, but I still love you and met no one above you. Quote. And it's got this really cool percussion as well. This is like a really sort of chill back song, like a bit sort of cool percussion going on, and saying how this is my favorite rom-com, crying till I laugh, and like I need you right here, and sorry is just all I've ever been. We get elastic, sort of like a push and pull, and like sorry is just all I've ever been is a pretty hard hitting line, I guess. But he's still with this person, or maybe after breaking up, he's just all he's ever been is sorry. But the "we get elastic like plastic" is sort of this push and pull. I feel like it links to like the whole idea of like a spiritual tether. How like, you know, you're always going to be linked to someone. And he's in the stage where, like, I guess the denial stage of a breakup, where he's sort of reflecting back. He's like, we shouldn't have broken up. Like, I need to reach out and stuff like that. So good song. Nice Shoes / In Your World is the next one. And Nice Shoes was I think it was the first single that was released. And it was good. I liked it. It was definitely different, but I liked it. It's got this kind of house beat, and his and he repeats like, "Can you make it stop?" again on this theme of like overthinking and like obsession with someone. And he builds well with like these harmonies and guitar lines. It's again kind of repetitive, but he's found new ways, it seems, to like build things with his voice and introduce guitar later. So there's like a guitar and a synth that kind of lead the melody, and then he'll add in like a more soloistic kind of guitar later. And then there's a beat switch into In Your World, to a beat that's very much like Gemini writes again, and saying how let down your guard and be honest to let it out. That doesn't make sense. I don't know why I've written that down. But he's saying like, "Oh, I'm in your world," and then repeats the line, "Life's a bitch and then you live again." And he touches on like the turmoils of, I guess, being young and like navigating relationships and the self. It kind of talks about like how he's in this world, or he's in his own world through this album, and we're sort of entering it as well. And I guess it's a metaphor for like a relationship, like, you know, you open up and talk about things to someone, and you let them into your world, and they in turn let you into theirs. And he also takes a minute to thank the fans. He says, "I always had angels. You're an angel. Thank you." And then again, there's this self-centered line as well. He says, I think it's like, "Oh, when there's an issue, it's always just about me, and then when you have an issue, it's not about me." And then he's like, "Oh, but it's always been about me." And maybe Steve Lacy is a little bit narcissistic. I don't know. Based on the, you know, go and appreciate my art for what it is, and people not seeing his thing. And now this is like, okay. But the beat switches back after this sort of middle section to, I believe it's the same sort of beat as Nice Shoes. But then it kind of just repeats In Your World after he's gone this monologue, and then drags it out for like 5 more minutes. So this is a 9-minute song, and it doesn't need to be. It really doesn't need to be. It feels like he did this on Apollo 21. He kind of just mashed 2 random songs together and then dragged it out to try and have like this sort of masterpiece 10-minute song, and I feel like that's what he's done here. It's kind of like disappointing, honestly. Like, I feel like I would just go back to the single version of Nice Shoes instead of this mashed together one. Like, there's no need for this song to be 9 minutes. Like, maybe I like long songs, and I like these like drawn out like outros and everything, but he doesn't do it really well on this song, which is a shame because he does it well on others. But the last song, BB, which is how you pronounce it because it says it in the song, not baby, it's kind of like this grungy lo-fi sort of thing. So there's like more distorted guitar, which is cool to hear him explore, actually. I feel like it could have done with more of it, but it kind of contrasts the synth sound. But maybe it's something, you know, he wants to explore going forward. But he's talking about how you put me under your spell, and like I'm hexed. He's now seeing like love as he's like being bewitched by someone, as it were, and how I never had you and it's still too much, which is a pretty cool line, to be fair, and touches on that like overthinking and like obsession sort of thing, which I think is again linked to the whole modern dating culture and, you know, the social media, and, you know, you like stalking someone on social media and like, oh, what, they've not replied but they're online and stuff like that, and to a point where he's like maybe scared of love now, and love's a blessing and a curse. I guess that's, you know, blessing and a curse is a common phrase. Maybe he's sort of playing on that. And then the ending, he kind of goes into this kind of monologue section. I'll just get the lyrics up now, and now it's playing. About like, caught you right in the mood. I was so high off my edible. That's why my friends had to carry me in. Do you got your vows? Because I do. That's the story about the time I got my life screwed up. So maybe he was proposed, or he proposed to someone whilst he was like high or something. But that's the story of how my life screwed up is the last lyric of the whole album, and it just cuts off straight after, which is cool. I think it works. It's really effective, especially this song does have like a darker feel, and it doesn't leave us on like a hopeful note in a sense. And it just kind of shows how like heartbreak can really change you as a person, and I think that's what this entire album is about. Clearly, he's been through it. He's not like, you know, the happy sort of go lucky guy that, you know, did bad habits and stuff. But I mean, Gemini Rights wasn't. I guess it was kind of talking about relationships, but it was genuinely more upbeat and yeah, it got you moving. But this kind of, he's like bearing all, I suppose, and I guess the album cover sort of shows that. Because he's like, you know, showing his tattoos. I actually saw he posted some on Instagram, and he was pulling a D'Angelo. He was the crotch line was on show. He nearly could have got banned. But it's kind of, and then again talking about on the song before, like I'm in Your World, he's sort of opening himself up with this album. It very much feels like he's it's a reflection of his sort of state of mind and where he's been these past few years, I guess. And was it worth the wait? Yes, it was, realistically. I don't know why I said kind of earlier. Like, you know, we've got new Steve Lacy music, and I suspect he will do a deluxe of this. I feel like if he's doing things with the internet soon, he's definitely got more music than this. And I feel like some of the things I've seen on his Instagram are not the same, like, or that they weren't in this. Just wait for the plane to go over. So I think he definitely has some songs in the locker still. But, you know, nevertheless, it's always cool that an artist comes back after a certain amount of time. Not that he was gone insanely long. I mean, it's only 4 years, but when he was at the peak of his career, I guess you'd hope he'd release something a bit sooner. But you know, we can just hope that he's okay, I guess, because it's, you know, this is darker than I feel like what most people assumed he'd release. But there's some cool ideas, some bad ideas, some things that, you know, he maybe hopefully doesn't do going forward, like his country accent. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. I feel like this has definitely been a very divisive project from what I've seen online. But nevertheless, it's new Steve Lacy music, so I'm here for it, and hopefully plenty more to come with the internet as well. So yeah, that's it.